And good evening. It's the PLO night with Kyyberi, and as you can see I have my webcam today. Sorry if it disturbs you. The starting time is 4 p.m. at Finnish time today. We are experimenting how it affects our viewers, and at the moment it seems that it's not a good time because we have only 2 users chatting, and one is Limit and the other one is me. But I hope someone finds this coaching today, and at least you can watch it on the YouTube later. And I think some of the viewers are watching it through the stream and they are just not in the chat room. So anyway, please give us feedback about the time. If this 4 p.m. is bad time for you, just let us know. Or if you like to see the coaching at a specific time on Saturday or other days, you can always tell your opinions so we can consider your opinion and thoughts and wishes when we are building the schedule. Today we are playing normal tables because I'm just searching through the lobby and not sure about tables. In PLO 50 Zoom, the players per flop is 29, which is actually a decent. I think we're going to play Zoom today. What's up with the shirt? It's Spanish ice hockey shirt. They actually play ice hockey in Spain. If you are wondering why I have it, you should visit our Facebook page about the World Championships in Spain. It's such a long story that this coaching is not enough to explain what happened there. But I think we have a bankroll of around $360. So if we keep the bankroll management of 10 buy-in like last week, we have around $100 to pay on PLO 50. So I'm actually opening 2 tables of Zoom. So let's see, if we lose a couple of buy-ins, then we drop to PLO 25. But if we happen to win some pots, then we can keep on playing the PLO 50. I think 2 tables is enough in Zoom because we don't have to wait for the hands. On the left table, we have aces, button open, small blind close. If we 3-bet, we can at best get an SPR of 2, and they will put us on aces often, so I'm going to just flat call here on the left table. And we hit top pair, over pair, and not flush draw. And button is 18 and 0. See, he shouldn't have 4-5 that often, and if he has 4-5, we still have 35% or a little more. We have some backdoor equity, so I'm going to semi-bluff him. Another option is to call, but then the problem is that if the spade comes, it's so hard to get value for it. So I'm just going to play pretty aggressively. He has a lot of like overpair with flush draw, which he might call. He's actually from Greece, which is strange because his stats are, and he has same aces. We are free rolling him, and that's a horrible way of playing aces. Like when the flop is 3-6 and he has only aces, he calls my check raise. On the turn he calls my shove, and all he can beat is a bluff, and even the bluff is bad. I mean, his hand is bad bluff catcher. Most of my bluffs still have a lot of equity. So that's a horrible way of playing aces. He should bet fold on that flop. And we got money in with the decent equity. We were free rolling him. But 25% on the turn wasn't enough. On right table we have actually same situation, although we don't know anything about our opponent. But I'm taking the same line here, and when he bets $1, it's such a weak bet that I'm going to just take the pot now. And if he just calls, he often has a flush draw. And now I spike the top pair on the turn. Of course, if he has 3-4 or 3-5 type of hand, then we are drawing the 20%, but we win the pot, which is nice. I don't know anything about the two opponents, so I'm not going to just check call the flop. Of course, I have the flush draw and an overpair, but it creates some problems on turn and river. And while I don't know anything about my opponents, I'm not going to be fancy. For Texas Hold'em, ace 7-6 with the flush draw on 6-3-2. Yeah, in PLO it's a semi-bluff. Because if he calls and he has any pair, he has a lot of equity. On left table, we actually picked the small straight, and in modern PLO, these monotone boards are such boards that everyone knows that my c-betting range is super wide. And the way that people react to that is that most players are calling my c-bet with the very wide range. People call with overpairs, one pair and overs, two pairs, gutshot draws, open-ended straight draws, all kind of stuff. So on that board, my c-bet wasn't actually a bluff, it's for value. Of course, if someone has a flush, he's beating me, I'm drawing pretty much dead. But their calling range has overpairs, 7xxx hands, any two pairs, any sets. So even if it's a monotone board, I can get one value bet with my straight. We have around 8 viewers on the stream, which is really nice. Although none of them, or one of them, is in the chat room. If you are on your computer, please come to the Pokermania chat room. Because it's always nicer to do these PLO nights when there's some interaction and people commenting and asking questions and doing whatever they do in the chat rooms. On right table, ace high flop is such a flop that in a heads up what I'm always c-betting unless I have some reach on my opponent. But when he calls, he probably has weak ace. He might have some kind of straight draw. The thing is that when the turn is blank, it doesn't change anything. He's probably not going to fold if I bet. So I'm going to check back and see if I hit something on the river, and I hit two pairs on the river, which also completes a straight, which is a sucky thing, and he bets half a pot. I have two pairs, but he's calling the flop with ace for made hands or with the straight draw, and 7 completes a straight. The only hand I can beat is queen 10, king queen 10 type of hand, and I'm not sure, it's a half a pot bet. So when I check the turn, I create a spot where he can bluff me, and I don't think he's value betting two pairs that often, so I'm going to call, and he has set of jacks, which is really surprising. That's on the flop he slow plays, on the turn he gives me a free card, and then on the river when the straight draw completes, then he's value betting it. I don't like the way he played his set, but that's how you are when you're out of position. It's really tough to play even the flop set out of position. Korpi Soturi is asking about GLV GLV value, it's getting late value. Actually, I think Korpisoteri should post his strategy post about the GLV to the English forum as well. But I explained it yesterday in Finnish chat, and in PLO we don't have GLV value, because in PLO it's like Texas Hold'em players, they are trying to get their ladies from the ladies that are left from the PLO guys. Like, it's PLO dudes get all the ladies they want, and Hold'em players get the rest. That's in a nutshell. So we don't have GLV value, because it's not an issue for PLO players. It's, if you go to the nightclub and you tell everyone that, yeah, I'm a poker player, I play Texas Hold'em on No Limit 600, none of the girls are interested. They are just, well, they think you're pathetic, or they might be interested in your money. But if you go to the nightclub and you say that, hey girls, I play Omaha, they are suddenly really interested, and they are not interested about your money. They are interested in you, because every girl knows that PLO guys do everything better. Meanwhile, on the left table, we bet the flop, we check the turn, and on the river we have the second nuts. And I'm going to bet, because I don't think he has a nut straight ever when he checks the turn. Checks the river. So the best hand he can have is a bluff catcher. Slow played set 2 pairs. So I'm going to bet over half a pot to represent that I might be bluffing. And if he has a bluff catcher, he will call me. On right table we have top 2 flush draw, backdoor flush draw. PLO is a fun game because you have so much on the flop. Like, if you look at the forum post about some hand analyzing, often you have a top pair, top kicker, cut shot, backdoor nut, flush draw, backdoor, cut shot. And the list goes on and on what you have on the PLO. In Hold'em you have just overpair, or you have a cut shot. But in PLO you have often 3 or 4 different things going on your way. Chickaman bets turn. I think he's going to bet it with really wide range, but we don't even have a straight draw, so I'm going to fold. It's sort of weak hand. On right table we open to steal the blinds, but we hit our top pair, so definitely for value C bet. And when he raises, it just, even if he has some sort of combo draw, he is ahead of us in equity, so our hand isn't going to improve, so we give up. Then we're waiting for hands. On left table we have a cut shot, but it's not enough. On right table our hand isn't that strong, but cutoff and button are sort of tight players, so I'm opening because they will fold so often, and the best thing happens, I get heads up in position. So on the flop I'm going to steal the pot. On the turn I actually get something, and he donks bet the turn. I don't think that's ever a bluff. Often people take this line with, then he might have 10 king. It's just, if he's bluffing, why not just check raise the flop? So I'm going to give up. and it might be exploitable, but I have some aggression stats on my hand, so if opponent keeps doing that, then of course I'm going to adjust. On left table we have open-ender, overpair and a flush draw, so I'm definitely going to raise. And on the turn, queen is great card to barrel because he's going to fold all his draws. And some of his draws are actually dominating us. So as we win the pot on the turn, it's really nice. It's often, well, now we don't have that much nut potential, but if we have aces with 7-8, like all our draws out to the nuts. The good thing about check raising this flop is that if he calls us sort of light, then when the board pairs, we have a lot of folding equity if we want to, and when we check raise, we represent the made hand. So if a flush comes, he's going to call our big bets with any flush he has. On left table, Chica guy 3-bets, we know that he has 3-bet aces and out of position with some kind of rundowns, and he 3-bets full pot, so I'm actually going to fold because I have a 3-card hand and I have an ace in my hand. It's going to be hard to play out of position. And the reason why I opened the hand is I'm just going to, it's a heads up pot, I'm going to steal, oh it's not a heads up pot, just a second. Yeah, I'm opening for value, but when he 3-bets me from position, this hand plays really bad in 3-bet pots. So if one of the blinds would have 3-bet me, then I think it's easier to call. But when someone 3-bets in position, it's going to be so hard to play. Because a lot of the hands that we hit are not that strong. Then on both tables we just call. On right table we have a great hand. And on the left we have some potential, but it's not enough to make a 3-bet. So I'm going to call this flop. I have an overpair, and it's a pair board, Mr. T. I think a lot of his range is overpair, which actually I'm going to raise. He's such a tight player. And if he has an overpair, it's hard for him to call. And when he raises, he probably has a hand like aces with the nut flush draw and the 3 in his hand, or aces with the flush draw. I don't think he has a full house almost ever. But I don't have anything, so I have to give up. On the left we have double-suited queens. And of course we're going to go. We have a great pot odds to draw our set. And we missed the flop and there's an overcard, so we don't go crazy on 4-way pot. And on the left table it's ace high board, so we're going to bet it. And on the left table we can 3-bet and again check raise. People are check raising me a lot today. On the left table we hit top pair, but if this guy has aces it's not enough. So I'm just going to give up. He probably bets it now. He should, if he had aces, he should bet it, but he's taking it to showdown. Poses is really tight player. Well, I don't have that much stats on him. He has played PLO 25 Zoom. And it's an ace high. I don't have any backdoors, so well, I had a backdoor flush draw, but I don't have any draws to improve my hand a lot on turn, so I'm going to give up. So let's be patient and just wait until we hit the strong hand and hope that people are check raising us then. Of course, in PLO 50 there are more of good regulars that can actually raise you on the flop and turn with quite wide range, because they can identify the board textures that are great for someone to attack. So on some boards they can actually check raise you with total air or bet re-raise you with air. And on the left table we don't know anything about our Polish opponent, but on the turn we have really bad bluff catcher, so there's no need to go crazy, we just fold. And on the right it's such a... If we had more hands on our opponent we might call for just bluff value, but as we don't know that much, there's no reason to go crazy. And then we are just waiting to get some hands. On right table we have a playable hand, queens and sixes. And let's see what happens. We missed the flop completely, but we have overpair, so I'm making the C bet, and he's going to fold some of his hands. On left table we hit the flush draw, so if we get a free turn card we're going to get it, but when there's a bet and call our flush draw is often dead, so we have to give up. And then we are just folding, crap, folding, crap, folding, crap, folding, crap. And waiting and waiting. On left table there's a cold caller. So I'm going to call. And we hit top pair and flush draw. And I don't think this guy has much when he didn't see bet, so I'm going to stab the bot on turn. On right table we open aces. And I'm going to call once this guy. He's donking half a pot, which is sort of strange, but when the button raises, this guy has jack for sure. So I'm just waiting to see if they shove, so we can see what hands they had. And he's folding, so he didn't have anything. He was just bluffing. Another aces. One player is unknown, and with the other I have only 27 hands, so I'm opening full pot. Normally I open 2.5 BBs, but they are unknown, so I can maximize my value. Because now when they 3-bet, I can commit with the 4-bet. If they were regular, so I had more hands on them, I would have opened 2.5. We hit the nuts on right table. And he makes a small raise. I hope he has kings so I can get it in against him. And he probably has kings. No, he has queens with the flush draw. Which is, well, he had a nut flush draw, but still he's always behind me. But it's a nice double up. I'm actually going to, when we get more money to the table, it's reload. What is it in English when we take away half of our stack? It's not reload, is it unload? We're unloading. Here, 67.4 opens. I'm going to make a small 3-bet. 200 BBs deep. I'm not going to even call the 3-bet with this hand. And on this board, I'm going to c-bet. Hope he folds if he doesn't have anything. But Jack 9. If he has any Broadway cards, it hits his range and he raises me, so nah. We have to get a folded. And now we unload and get 100 BB stacks. Normally I wouldn't unload my stack, but today, as we have only 2 buy-ins to play on PLO 50, I'm not going to increase the variance, but I'm going to take it back to 100 BBs, so we are not risking our whole bankroll for the stakes. Nice rundown, we're going to 3-bet it, and he 4-bets, which is pretty often aces, it's an easy call, and we hit wrap and top pair, and I'm just going to shove it. And he calls with pair aces, which is, well, he had an SPR1, so of course he's going to call. And let's see what our equity was. We had 58% on the flop, so we were ahead of him. So too bad that we have got our stacking twice with good equity. Earlier we free rolled the one guy and now we were ahead but couldn't win. On right table he calls, so I'm going to take this kings to showdown, and he has just jacks, which is really bad. I would say very bad to have a call down with just the pocket jacks. Rat load is a nice term on the chat. I like rat loading. On left table, there's no reason to 3-bet bad aces, so just call and see what happens. On the right table, we happen to hit the nuts on the river, which is quite nice. And here on left table, when the 9 comes, I'm going to, I either call or I raise. I'm actually going to call, but then I have to call the river, and he had a 9. It's Makes sense, but he often has some sort of air, because the 9 is a great card for him to barrel. On F table we have queens on the button. Let's see what happens. People are thinking and thinking and thinking. I don't know why they are thinking so much. Because preflop in PLO is not that complicated. And we get 3-bet from Shorty. If I had ace, queen, queen, I think I would 4-bet and get it in against Shorty, but these bad queens, even if his range is super wide, we are just flipping, so we don't really achieve that much by shoving, so I'm going to let it go. And here another Finnish player donks me on the flop. I think I can represent aces a lot more than him, so I'm going to raise. Yeah, and he had nothing. So the lesson is, don't try to steal my chips. On F table we have a nice hand. It's not a monster, but it's somewhat easy to play. I think we had ace jack 10 then. Or did we? Yeah, we had an ace jack. Now we have an set and flush draw, which means we have decent equity even if he has a straight. And that 7 is the worst card in the deck. Because when he's calling, he either has a straight or he has that flush draw, and I just have to check fold this river. And he had a straight from the flop. On the last hand here, on the turn when we have a set and flush draw, we have actually 43% equity against the straight. Which is sort of, if you have a set and you have a flush draw, you can always call if someone raises you, even if they raise you for a pot. It's such a strong hand. And on the flop, if you have a set and a flush draw, you are 60-40 favorite over pair set. Pair straight. So if you have a set, top set and a flush draw on the flop, and you are pretty sure that your opponent raises you with the straight, you are ahead of him, so you can get it in on the flop. Here, board is so wet that even if I raise, I'm not sure if he's going to fold. So if I raise, I need to barrel a lot of turns. And to able to do that, I wish I had at least a backdoor flush draw or something, that there are even some good turn cards. When I have total air, I don't have any good turn cards, so I don't like to raise as a bluff to such a wet board. We hit the wrap and not flush draw, so I'm just going. It's a limp board, so no one has a reason to bet this board or bet the flop. So I'm going to just donk for full pot and try to raise the pot. And he raises me. If I'm sure that he has a set, the right way is to call. And I have to hit something to win the pot. So there's no reason to shove. Whatever he has, he's ahead of me. So I'm going to call. And when the board doesn't pair, I'm going to call the turn. And then I'm going to shove the river. And he snap calls me with his set or 2 pairs. And he did. He had a set of queens. And he says that we are idiots. Well, it might be true, but how can he know? There on the flop, I think we are pretty much flipping. As he's blocking one of his own outs, we might be actually ahead. Well, yeah, we are 54% favorite on the flop, so in terms of EV, if we shove the flop, it's plus EV for us. But as I think when we block a lot of the straight draws and we block the nut flush draw, his range is pretty much 2 pairs and sets. That way we can get better EV by just calling. Because then we don't have to stack off if we don't hit anything. The thing is that we don't ever win the pot with ace high. So we have to hit something to win the hand. And let's say the river is a queen of spades. We don't have to stack off. And let's go to the turn and river. If we miss the river, we save $12 compared if we have shoved the flop. And if he has a set, he's not going to fold at any point of this hand. Even if the turn completes a draw, we bet he's not going to fold it. So I think that we get a lot more value by just calling instead of shoving the flop. Although shoving the flop is not a mistake. And we are going to rat load again. Great coaching, because if you learn just one thing from today's PLO night, it's the rat loading. I haven't heard that term ever. Dementor, we don't know much about it, but if I check, there's going to be only bad turn cards, so I'm going to bet the flop. And I think he might raise us quite often because this board is great for raising. He often has some piece of it. So, but it's better line than just checking the flop because he's going to bet all the turn cards. And on the turn, unless it's an ace, I have just a mediocre bluff catcher. And we rat load. Kaboom. I think we are up around 1 buy-in again, which gives us some room to play this PLO 50. Zero opens not quite a lot, so I'm going to 3-bet him. Because he also seems to fold to c-bets quite honestly, so the hand strength itself is not that great, but there are a lot of flops that I can make him fold when I have 3-bet pre-flop. If his fold to c-bets that was much lower, or I had bigger sample size and it's lower, I wouldn't 3-bet that hand. Yeah, the guy who called us idiot. What I meant is that, yeah, he might be right, but how does it know it? We are not idiot because of that play. Too bad it's Joe the idiot. I have to answer him. It's always nice when people are chatting you. Often, now when he's on the pot, I'm not going to bluff on him. We might have bet the flop, but we don't want to get raised on the flop. So sometimes it's nice when people are chatting. Of course, when they are saying, I hope you die, and all kind of stupid fluting, it's not that great. But sometimes when you're playing, especially if you are playing for recreational value, like you play on much lower stakes than normally and have some beer and just having fun, it's nice if people communicate with you. It's the same as you go to casino. I'm not going to play live games and hope that everyone sits quiet and tries to be as unreadable as possible. When I go play live, I like people to relax and have fun. And if I win money while doing that, it's even greater. But sometimes, especially on Friday, Saturday evenings, if I don't have anything to do, I might go to open a few tables and try to chat with people. Sometimes there's some good conversations, and it's nice. One thing we talked about chatting yesterday in our Finnish PLO night, there was this guy that I think we sucked out on him. Or we didn't, we flopped the quads against his aces 200 pp deep. So he got quite angry to us. And someone said that, yeah, we should insult him more to make him tilt. And yeah, it might be plus EV in short term if we can get him to tilt. But as Artemet just said, if we start to insult him, it creates a negative, what's the word for atmosphere? It creates negative atmosphere to the table. And while we can make one player tilt, there are 3 recreational players on the table, which are our main targets. They don't like negative atmosphere. So if we start to insult each other a lot, they might just change the table. Because it's not nice to play when people are yelling to each other. And the bottom line is that we don't get our winnings from the regulars that much. We might win something, but our expected value against regulars is not that great. It's pretty much EV0 on PLO. The way we are making money is to get it from recreational players and the weaker players. And now, if we create an atmosphere that they don't like, they go to other tables. And that way we are just making sure that we don't have any customers. It's like if you have your own company and you are waiting for a customer and finally someone comes to your company and wants to buy something from you, and when he comes through the door you tell him, you fucking son of a bitch, go home and die. It's pretty bad business, at least in my mind. Same thing in poker, when your customer, the recreational player, fishies, whatever you want to call them, donkeys, when they come to table, they are your customer. So if you insult them, you are just making sure that your win rate is going down. Instead, you should keep them happy. And this is especially true when you go to live play in casinos, because there are a lot of recreational players. They come there to play some poker and enjoy. They want to be social, they want to chat with you. And the longer they stay at the table, the better your value is. So even if they suck out on you with one outer or backdoor straight flush, don't get angry. Don't let your ego take control. You can say that nice catch, or if they suck out on you, aces versus kings, you can say it, wow, nice catch, man, and keep them happy. Give them the illusion that they have done the right thing while they called you with 5% equity. Often I see on the tables that huge fish sucks out. The regular goes angry and starts to yell at him and forces the poor player to leave the table. And it just sucks because there goes my payday too. But it's something you should think. Does it make you feel any better as you insult someone? We don't know anything about our opponent, so I'm going to bet this flop. I don't think he's going to raise us that often. And on the turn we actually make a hand. And on the river we have the nuts. Interesting situation, because we have bet the flop, we have bet the turn, we represent the nuts on the river for sure. So if we bet like over $10, he's not going to call us, because he shouldn't have that much bluff catchers. He might have set or two pairs, so I'm going to pick up a bet sizing that he can call us with the set. And he had a nuts, but he didn't raise us. Wow. He had the second nuts on the turn. With the flush draw, I would have raised. And on the river, he just calls. Maybe he's afraid of the raise. On the right table, I'm going to call the turn. Oops, sorry, I mislooked the table. I thought it was 969. Wow, this is pretty fishy. I think he has a straight pretty often when he bets the turn. I thought it was a paired board. I would have just check fold the flop. It's my bad. We lost $5. Oops. It's misclick. We lost actually $15. I was supposed to fold, but I misclicked call. And of course, he has the 7-10 with the flush draw, and our play looks super fishy. So I really hope that due to this mistake, he gives us a huge fish color, and we get some value out of him later. My bad. Instead of $5, we lost $15. And we should not have lost that in that hand. So sometimes when your opponent makes one really marginal play, like there, our opponent, if he takes notes, he might think that, wow, the Finnish guy is super fishy. And sometimes they are not that fishy, they just mislook the flop and misclick the river. And on the right table, when he checks calls the flop, he never has a strong hand, so I'm going to bet the turn big. And 7 is a bad card, it completes a flush, but he has some straight draws. I have the nut flush blocker, so I'm going to bet the river. And he might have some sort of king queen jack type of hand. And he has a set of 7s that he calls me. Wow. He calls the flop with just an open ender. He's quite call happy. I really think he should fold the set of 7s on the river, because there's nothing he can beat. Wow. I'm going to just call the flop and let him barrel. And queen is sort of bad card. I'm going to make a small bet, and if he has an overpair, we get value. And if he raises, I can quite happily to fold. Here on the right table, I have the blockers for the straight, but he's a short stack. I don't think he's going to fold if he has any piece on that board. Limit says that there are restaurants in the States that are famous because they insult customers. Well, there are some really strange people in this world, and some people like being insulted. They have, of course, the places to go, but as for normal restaurant, it's not a good policy to insult customers. On the F table, I'm going to value bet actually the turn because our opponent is sort of fishy. And 7 is bad card. It competes a lot of straights, so at this point we have to check back, and he has 9-3. Wow. Well, at least I can give them a lot of green color. Call down with bottom 2 pair is quite bad. I'm going to semi-bluff the turn because he checks the flop. I don't think he has aces with the flush draw that often when he just checks the flop. So I can win the pot. And if he calls me with pair aces, I have a great equity. Today, calling stations have owned us so far. And this Amushushush 3-bet us. I don't think he's check folding the flop. So I'm going to take a free river card. And the way the hand is made, if he has aces, he's not going to fold them on the river unless I bet full pot and even then. So I don't see there's that much folding equity. So just check back, and he actually has it. Wow, he has open ender and flush draw on the flop, and he was check calling. Wow, he should have c-bet. He has a lot of folding equity on that board. And bit ball c-bets for full pot, we have only a cut shot, so it's not enough to continue. Here's our friend exception. What we now have is a top pair and a wrap, and he checks the flop. He doesn't have straight ever. So turn is a pretty safe spot to make a value bet. And then we just fold all the crappy hands. On the right table we have aces. It's just the position is super bad, so it's if we make a 3-bet we can get $6.50, so we just have to call and see if the flop favors us. And it doesn't, so we give up. If we 3-bet aces, it's going to be a horrible spot with mediocre aces and against 2 people out of position with an SPR of 3.5. Now on this board we have to fold, because even if he doesn't have aces that often, his rundowns hit that board. I think Sodalite 3-bets, he has aces really often. And although we have nines and deuces, I'm going to call. This cold caller isn't a great thing because he often has 2-pair type of hands or rundown. And on this board, I think if this guy c-bets, he has the flush draw himself often. But now he doesn't. We don't have any straight blockers. It's a bad spot to bluff because on this board someone probably has something. And our showdown value isn't enough, so let's hope to get a free river card. And we don't. I'm so tempted to bet this river. Because no one, well, he did it before me. No one probably doesn't have anything. So we have a lot of folding equity there. Here we hit top two backdoor flush draws. We are raising. We are blocking set of kings, which is pretty much the only hand that we are afraid now. And he probably have them. No, he has wrap of some kind. And we managed to win both deals, which is actually a nice thing. Let's see our equity. Well, we had 57 on the flop, which is great. Again, on that flop, we are representing a made hand. So when he has a draw, he has to hit something to win the pot, and he doesn't have a flush draw. So if he shoves the flop, it's not that great of a plus EV move for him. It's about EV0, because there's some money on the pot. And I'm never raising here with the bluff when he has that many straight draw cards in his hand. So what he should have done is he gets a better EV by just calling and see if the turn pairs the board. Because he can fold some turns, I can't fold any turns. So I think the opponent made a mistake by shoving his 13 out wrap. So we have to rat load again, which is actually a nice thing. It means that we have won something. Here we have overpair and a cut shot, backdoor flush draw. I'm going to c-bet the flop. Ratami, well, we don't know much about him, so I'm going to check back. And now when money goes in, we're just going to fold. Let's see what they have. And there's a set and there's a straight draw. Wow. And when there's two overcards on the left table and we didn't pick any extra equity on the turn, so we have to fold it. Wow, this Swedish guy limp folded from under the gun. It's really, really strange. But funny things happens when you play PLO. Oops, we lost the sound because I mute myself. I'm going to fold this because this guy has 6 out of 10 of his hands has been aces when he 3-bets. So his 3-betting ranges consist some aces. So especially in position. So I have one ace in my hand, which is sort of a blocker, but I'm not going to cold call 3-bets with ace in my hand. If I wanted to play the hand, I think I would have made a cold 4-bet to create some more folding equity on the flop. And this is another strange line. People check call these paired boards and don't bet the turn. This has happened like 3 or 4 times today. And I'm not sure, maybe someone on some poker school site has made that line and it's becoming a trendy line now, but I don't know what's the idea behind that line. 3 aces, I'm going to call. It's going to be a bluff catcher unless we hit the ace or not flush. But I think when his range is sort of tight, we can get some value from overpairs. Wow. That bet sizing looks like a set, which now sucks. And he bets full, but I'm going to fold. His turn bet size looks like it's either a flush, and when he's calling, if he calls a turn with the flush, I don't think he is turning it to a bluff on the river. But the bet size, when he bets 1/5 of the pot or something, he wants to see a cheap river card, but he wants to put some money on the pot. So if he calls a turn with the set, it's a mistake on his part. And not much going on. I'm going to c-bet. Turn is interesting card. We have the flush. So I'm going to check and get some value from bluff. If someone has a full house, we lose the same amount, no matter if we bet or call ourselves. But now when this guy raises, I think we have to fold. And he had a 10-7. And this guy had a nut flush. We were drawing 2 outers. And then we fold. And we fold some more. We don't know anything about our opponents, so it's... I'm going to call it sort of borderline. If he had any suit, it's an easy call in my mind, but now when he pots it, that's really, really strange. Whatever his range is, it's super unbalanced. So when he pots the flop, we know that whatever his hand is, he's making a mistake. And then we wait and we wait. And we wait. On the right table we have kings. No reason to 3-bet it. Because bad kings play pretty badly out of position in 3-bet pots. On this flop, he's c-betting against two people and one of them is shorty. I'm going to call once and see if the turn improves us. But now when the shorty raises, it's going to be a fold. Let's see what they have. This guy probably has some sort of draw. No, he had a top pair. Wow. I wonder what he had done if I had shoved the flop. Is he calling to fold on my shove? If not, then he should raise the shorty himself. To make me fold a lot of equity. And we get a 3-bet on left table from Danish guy. We have Jack, Jack, King, Queen. It's pretty close. I'm going to call, but the problem is that if we hit some sort of straight draw and he has aces, he's blocking a lot of our outs. And on the right table, I'm making pure bluff 3-bet with my hand. Because he's 22-7 and he has fold to c-bet 100. And I'm going to c-bet the flop. There's no straight possibility and I think he's going to fold unless he has decent equity against aces. Against more aggressive player, I would not have 3-bet that crappy hand pre-flop. So basically we use the heart to profile our opponent and then adjusted our play. And then we wait and we wait. We have 3-card hand, which kinda sucks. But I'm going to 3-bet him anyway. And we get a nice flop. We have a wrap and flush draw. And ace is great card. I'm going to actually bet full board because if I can make him fold any made hand, he's going to fold a lot of equity. And I can definitely represent aces. It's hard for him to call with the draw. Or if he has some Queen XXX hand. And on the river we have to follow through because we don't have anything. The only way to win the pot is for him to fold some kind of a draw. And it's... well, when he calls the turn it sucks and he has actually one pair. And he... wow. I'm going to give him the green color. I don't think his call on the flop is that bad on the turn. He might think that, yeah, I have aces, but he just can't fold. And on the river, he just can't fold. That is such a bad way to just call the turn and then call the river anyway. Why not shove the turn? And we lost one buy-in there. I have to see, I lost the count on our buy-ins, so I have to check the poker tracker. What is our status? Yeah, we are actually down one buy-in, both in real value and in expected value. Exception is a guy that was mad about us earlier, so that's why I'm 3-betting. I give him an option to 4-bet us. Like if he's still mad, he might 4-bet any ace-king-king type of hand. But flop is horrible, we have to check fold against this player. And it gets even worse. But we managed to win the pot, which is strange. He didn't want to steal the pot. Oh, he had kings. Too bad he didn't 4-bet us. So despite of being able to win many buy-ins, we are actually 1.5 buy-ins down. Which kinda sucks. But there's still half an hour to go, so things might change. But the thing is that if we lose one more buy-in, then we have to drop down to be on to 25 or so. Monotone flop. I'm going to make the c-bet because we don't have any information on our opponent. And on average, I think people are folding 1 out of 3 times. And if you have any questions, please join the chat so you can ask the questions. And then we fold on right table. We are going to steal the big blind if it gets unraised. But it doesn't, so we fold the hand. Same thing on left table. Guy has VPIP 19, so he's going to fold a lot. And we are folding, and we are folding, and we are folding. Kuba says yes. Nice. What was the question? On left table, we are going to steal the blinds. And not much going on. So we just keep on folding. Fold, fold, fold. Fold. And it's sort of boring right now. But we have time, we can wait. It's really important in PLO that you have patience, because when you get these boring sessions, you can easily think that, yeah, this hand is good enough to open. I haven't opened anything for 15 minutes. So you're opening up your open range. And this guy donks, I'm going to raise, because if he has a straight, we are favorite over a pair straight. We have some backdoor straight possibilities, and I don't really want to call and see the turn flushing the board. If the heart comes on the turn, when he checks, I have to check behind. And it's hard to get value if some draw completes that beats his straight. And when he donks, he often has something else than a straight. But he's not going to triple barrel me. There aren't that many blank turn cards that are good for him to barrel. So I'm going to just raise him there. And it's nice when your raise range has more hands than just the straights there. We have top 2 against green player, which is a nice thing. And then we fold. Exception guy, if he opens, I'm going to call. Because when someone is angry, although he seems that he has calmed down, but he remembers when we won a big pot against him. So there's a huge possibility that he's going to overplay his hands because he wants to get even. So that way, when we hit our top set, he might actually overplay his 2 pairs or smaller sets. So when someone is angry at you, you have more implied odds than normally. This guy opens. I'm going to isolate him with the small 3-bet. Now someone might ask, would I ever make a small 3-bet with my aces here? Depending on opponent, against this opponent, I don't have any history, so I don't have to be balanced yet. And we hit top pair and open ender. And we didn't get any action. On right table, I'm just going to keep firing. If he calls, he probably has a spade draw. If he was drawing to the small straight or something, he might raise us. Or if he has a weak ace, but didn't get any action. If he was more aggressive player, we might try to check raise, but the thing is that we open pre-flop, we see bet the flop, we often have ace in our hand. So when we check, we probably has a hand that we are going to check call. So on this board, it's a bad spot for him to bluff us with spade draw or something. But he's not that aggressive, so definitely when we have the nuts on the turn, we have to bet it ourselves. Mental Tony. I'm just going to call. And the greatest thing happens, we flop the top set. And I'm going to make a raise. If he has ace in his hand, he's not going to fold in. And if he doesn't, it's hard to get any value out of him. And he raises us, which is nice. And I'm just going to shove, and he might fold some weaker hands, but I don't think he should raise fold anything. Because I might have that draw, so he folded. Not sure what he had, but when you bet re-raise fold with 100 pp stacks, it's a bad way, whatever your hand is. But when I check raise him, either I have a made hand or I have a draw. And if he decides to raise it himself and I shove, if he's going to fold, why raise me anyway? So it's a bad way on his part. And too bad he didn't go all in, we couldn't stack him off. And this guy donks. I'm going to call on the turn. I have two pairs and open-ender. And he had aces, he sucked out on us. It's a really strange way to play aces. I'm going to call. His bet sizing doesn't look like he has a straight. I mean set on left table. It really looks like he's bluffing. And as I have bluff catch him, I'm going to bluff catch the river. And he had just a bluff there. So it's nice to be right when trying to be hero. On the previous hand on right table, the guy, this is something that I just don't understand. On the flop he doesn't have anything, so he check calls. Or did he donk me? Yeah, he check calls, and on the turn he suddenly donks. So on the flop he's calling with aces, and on the turn he's turning his aces into a bluff. I don't like this play. Grind Nation is asking about when we had the set, would it be better to just flat the 4-bet? Well, it might be better, but we have the nuts, and I don't think he's that often going to bet and re-raise me on that board and find a fold when he only needs 30% equity, because my sovereigns have a lot of straight draws. Well, he might have two pairs, he might have straight draw himself, he might have a set. On that board he shouldn't fold anything that he re-raises me with. Now he found a fold, so either he's making a really bad bluff or he's re-raising hands that he can fold. I don't think I need to call, because it's hard to get a value from his hand post-flop if he's not going to stack off on the flop. And when the straight card comes, we can't shove, we have to just check call. Sometimes even check fold, it depends what the card is. So when we have the nuts and 95% of the times we can get the money in, I'm going to shove pre-flop on the flop always. Now happened 1 out of 20 times that he found a fold. It doesn't mean that our line was bad. If he had called us, then the line would have seemed great, but now he folded. We don't want to fall into the trap of questioning ourselves based on the results. Because if he has a smaller set and we flat call, turn completes a straight, we can bet, turn goes check check, and on the river, if the board doesn't pair, river goes check check, and then we see that we lost 70 BBs value against the smaller set when we could have stacked him off. We have the effective nuts on the river, so we're going to get some value out of him. But we couldn't. Again, aces on the left table. Oh, we have a 200 pp stack. We have to rat load. Fufani, well, we don't know anything about his 4-bet, so we're just going to call. And flop is horrible. We might bluff raise him, but I'm actually going to do it. We risk $4.50 to win $5. So we get a great price. If he folds half of his range, we make profit. And he's 22.19. I don't think he's going crazy if he doesn't have anything. So when he calls, he either has flush, 2 pairs, and now he probably has flush or both. So we just have to fold. But I think he's c-betting his whole range, and without any history between us, I think he's going to fold at least half of his range. We flop the world on left table. We have top set, we have cut shot, we have flush draw. Although the cut shot and flush draw are not to the nuts. But still, against anything we have often great equity. So definitely c-bet, and too bad we didn't get any action. It's a great flop to get the money in a really good shape. On the right table, I don't want to limp my tens behind, so I'm making a min raise. Just to increase the pot, and in case I hit my set, when I have raised pre-flop, people are going to raise me with a wider range than they would if the pot is just limped. But when we miss the flop and someone donks us, there's nothing we can do. And then we rat load. On right table I isolate with the 3-bet. If he 4-bets, it's easy call. And this board sucks. It just hits his range so nicely that I'm actually going to just check and build some equity on the turn. And if he checks, I think I'm going to bet. When he bets half a pot, I'm going to call. I think deuces and sixes are out. Sometimes flushes are out. Fives are definitely out. And on the river, I can't really represent the jack that often. So I think if I bet he might fold some higher pairs, but it's hard for me to represent anything. But he shouldn't have a full house ever. So I'm going to bet. He might call me with kings, he might call me with queen, but the rest he should fold. And he might have some 10-10-9 type of hands that are going to fold often but beat me, as I have only a pair of sixes in my hand. And his turn bet sizing told me that he doesn't have 2 pairs or a set ever. Right Nation is asking what are important hard stats for PLO. I could talk for hours about building a HUD. Basically, it depends on how you play PLO, what kind of information you find useful. Like I have this hard, but someone else might use totally different stats. Most of the time, VPIP, preflop raise, 3-bet are essential. I know guys who don't have these stats. They don't have preflop raise total. They have only the positional raise first in, like I have here. But I like to have VPIP, preflop raise, and 3-bet because out of those 3 stats, I can quickly see what type of player he is. I can profile him into the 4 main categories of players, which is our loose aggressives, calling stations, nits, and tight aggressives. And my advice of building hard is to start with the simple stats. Those 3 stats: c-bet, fold to c-bet. And then in the time when you find that you are often using the pop-up to see some stat, or you have a lot of spots where you think that it would be nice to see how often he does what, then when you see that you have a need for something, then add the stats to hard. And doing that, it takes a lot of time, but in the end you will have a hard that is 100% good for your playing. When you just copy, like if you copy my hard, you might have out of these 30 or 25 numbers, there might be 10 numbers that you don't ever use. And they just take space and confuse you. So you should have stats in your hard that you are using, not that someone else is using. But the basic stats are great, and fold c-bet or how often he c-bets are great stats. You can easily estimate some of his tendencies. Like if a guy makes a c-bet only 30% of the time with a decent sample, you can assume that his c-betting range is pretty strong. I have c-bet and fold to c-bet and donk and raise both for single raised bot and for 3-bet bots, because especially against regulars, I want to know how they play in 3-bet bots. Like if someone has a high check raise in 3-bet bots, I know he's raising with a pretty light range. So it helps me on my decision making. But if someone check raise is pretty low in 3-bet bots, I know his check raise range is for value. On right table, I'm going to pot the turn, because no matter what I bet, I represent the straight. So now it's up to my opponents if they make a mistake. I have the nuts and redraw to higher straight, so if someone raises you, I'm going to get it in. And now the flush comes, which sucks, so if he 4-bets, I have to fold and he pots. The thing is that if he called me on the turn with the flush draw, it was minus EV call for him when he don't get any implied odds. And I don't think he's ever bluffing the river with the set for a full pot. But creating hard is actually an important topic. I have talked so many hours about hard with my students. About how to create a good hard and what is a good hard, and it also depends about how good your thinking process is. Because the better your thinking process is, the more you have these automatic skills and your brain resources are free for decision making. So the more you have numbers in your heart, the more it takes away your resources to understand it. On left table we have the nuts on the flop, we have nuts on the turn, which is great, so we just keep barreling and hope he either shoves us or actually fold. Of course he can call, but the thing is that if the board doesn't pair, it pretty much completes some sort of a draw. Of course, he's such a, I might say, if he's such a bad player that he's not going to bluff us out, but if he's a aggressive thinking player, when he draws, he might bluff us when any draw completes on the river. On the right table, we open and we hit calls from the blinds, and I'm going to make a small stab. Because this guy is never going to bluff me. This guy might raise me now. Now we just have to think, do we barrel him? I think we're going to bum. I don't think he has a straight because there's a flush draw on the board. I also think that he's not going to fold often on the turn, but he's going to fold often on the river. And we might bet the flop smaller with the straight to induce him to raise. So it's hard, he can't raise us with the bluff on the turn when we bet so big. And no one bet the flop, so we are going to represent an ace. So often these guys are going to fold unless the space bet is going for a check raise, which he did. So then we just fold. And one other option is to just take a free turn card because we had a cut shot and backdoor flush draw. But when they both check, I think that we're going to win the pot so often by just betting. And if they call, there are some turn cards that actually improve us. And we are almost at the time that we have to end the night. It's nice to see that we had some viewers. Of course, chat was pretty quiet today, but on the Justin stream we had 12 listeners or watchers most of the time, which is great. Please let us know on the coaching thread that how you like this earlier time. Space bet sort of tied this player, so I'm going to just c-bet it. And this guy raises us. We're just going to fold. I'm going to fold a lot to 3-bets. But I don't think there's a way for opponents to exploit that. Because when they are 3-betting out of position and they are going to they're going to c-bet blindly. They have a lot of, if I fold half of the time and half of the time I call, it's hard for them to make a profit out of position. And when I have a crappy hand, I'm just opening it to steal the blinds. I know that they are going to fold the blinds often enough to make a profit. So when they 3-bet, I can just fold the hand. One Nation is asking, should I have 3-bet the double-suited kings? Yeah, it was an option, but let me find the hand. The thing is that it has a lot of potential in a multi-way pot. Like set of kings is great to hit top set if it's a 4-way pot, because people are so more likely to hit something. And I have 2 high flush draws which are great. The problem is that if I 3-bet and he 4-bets, I have to fold. And if I 3-bet, he is putting me on aces often, and when he thinks about his equity against aces, he suddenly plays pretty perfectly against my kings. So the value comes from hitting a set or hitting a flush. And I don't think this guy ever has an ace here, so I'm going to bluff the river. And wow, he raises me. Probably has ace queen or something. Slow played it. So I thought about 3-betting, but then again, when I'm in position, I want to have a multi-way pot. So that's why I just called. Against Jordy in position, we're going to make a 3-bet. He might want to gamble with almost any hand. And if he calls, we have an SPR of 2 or something, and oh, this board sucks. Let's check and see what happens on the turn. Turn doesn't really change that much. And he pots it, he definitely has something. So we can get away. Top 2 on the right table. Against calling station type of player. No need to be tricky. Just bet, 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 bet. As long as we have a strong hand. And let's see a few more hands. I think that in 10 minutes we're going to close the session. So we have some time to create some interesting spots. We hit bottom 2 on the right table, so I'm going to c-bet it and hope I can win the pot. If he calls, it sucks, unless we hit the full house. And I'm going to value bet the turn against some draws. Of course, he might have ace-9 or ace-jack, ace-deuce, but he often has some kind of pair and flush draw, pair flush draw, and we might make him fold some pair ace, which has a great equity against us. Left table, we hit the nut cut shot and nut flush draw, which is great thing. And on the right table, we have top 2 and open ender. Don't get any action. And on the left table, I think this guy's going to barrel the turn often and we have to fold. But we had equity on the flop to call his bet. As we had so many nut outs. What table is Grand Nation referring to? Was it the left one or right one? Because I can't remember the hand, sorry. There's a delay on our stream. And then we wait again. And we hit top 2 on left table. Of course we are making a c-bet. He calls turn is blank, which is great, so we are just making him to pay out of his draws. And he calls, and 8 is sort of safeguard. He might have a backdoor flush, but at this point there's no need to value bet anymore. There aren't any better hands that might fold, and there aren't any worse hands that could call, so we take the hand to showdown. And he has just an ace and a flush draw. And we pick up a nice 30 pp pot. Here on that turn he has only a pair and a flush draw, jack high flush, so that his call on the turn is bad, because even if the flush comes, he can't donk bet it. So if he hits his flush, he's going to check, and check call makes the bluff catcher. So when he calls a turn with just a flush draw, he needs to have implied odds, but he doesn't really have. On the right table, I'm going to bluff this flop. He bet so small, and it was an inducing bet, which is one of the options, but I risked $6.50 to win $9 or even more, so I can a great price. And here he raises me. I have a high flush draw and a not cut shot, so I'm going to call this bet. And turn gives me more equity, so now it's just mathematical. Let's see how much he bets if we can call. We have around 30% equity, which is enough to call in my mind. And turn is blank, so we give up. He probably has a full house now, so he's going to bet it. But on the turn we had around 30% equity, which is enough to call. And too bad we lost the big pot, but on the right side we isolate, but we get 2 cold callers. Welcome to small stakes PLO. VPIP 17 guy cold calls, and there's a 4-bet, he has aces. Well, we are going to call, and wow, this guy cold calls 3-bet short stack, and then wow. Now if they both have aces, we have the best equity, but they don't. This guy has 7s. He shoved 100 BBs. Now this is super strange. This guy has VPIP 17 and he goes all in pre-flop with 7-7-6-10. Wow, we had great equity pre-flop, but couldn't hit our hand. Too bad. So the outcome of those last 2 big hands is that we were close to break even before those, and now we are down 2 buy-ins, which kind of sucks for the shareholders, but I don't think we made mistakes on those hands. A nice hit on the left table. We don't have to turn our hand into a bluff, so we can let him barrel. And either he has an overpair or he has air, so we can bet pretty big, and he probably had air. I can't find the hand that Grindation is referring to. Here we have a wrap, although it's a bottom end, but I think we have a lot of folding equity, so we're going to semi-bluff. But he checks, so of course we're going to bet. On the left table, I hope this hacky guy calls, because then we can drag him to play for stacks. 7 is decent turn card, and we managed to win the pot. We have run under EV on some of the last English PLO nights, which kind of sucks, and we are going to run under EV today. And I think that for these PLO nights for the last month or so, we have had pretty awful sessions. There are some sessions that our EV is positive and winnings are hugely negative. So we are running under EV a lot. But it happens a lot in PLO because the variance is higher than in Hold'em. So there's nothing you can do. You can't affect how well your nuts are holding up or how often you hit the flips. All you can do is try to play as good as you can and see what happens. But the clock is actually 6. We have had 2 hours of PLO fun. I think it's time to close the tables. Here we get a 3-bet from Grease Guy. I'm going to call because he's going to stack up with any 2 pairs. If I hit any 2 pairs, and I missed the flop, so not much to do. But if he has aces, I have a great equity. And on the left, he's such a loose that when he pots this, I don't think he's going to fold that often. If he had bet smaller, I think I might have raised him. And pretty much the last hands are going in, and now it ended. I'm going to show you the graph. We lost $87 and our EV was minus $50. So let me filter the graph for today. Here it is. This is the last 2 hands. We lost 2 buy-ins almost straight, which kind of sucks. Without those, we would have gone to break even. But yeah, there were a couple of spots where we ran hugely under EV. Well, nothing you can do about it. Even our EV line isn't that great. There were some setups, and there was the one hand where we got $92 in while the opponent had just a bad hand. We had great equity, and then on the river he made a hero call and won. if we had get the money in on the 4-port turn, our EV line would be even higher. So overall, I'm happy. The one hand that I don't like is the one where I mislooked the flop and made a bad call, and then on the turn I missed it, and we lost $15 that we should not have lost. But it happens. Anyway, thank you. Next week our English PLO night is and Wednesday, so there's only 4 days left before that. I'm going to update the shares thread so you can see what your share is, and if you want to book more, you have 4 days to do it. So thank you all, and I see you on Wednesday in our English PLO night. Now have a nice Saturday, and see you later. Bye bye.